MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Clarissa?
Whatever you want, right? That.
Welcome back once every get. Welcome back once again, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Now, today's movie is something that, as far as I can ascertain, most of the kids that shop at Hot Topic disdain quite a lot: Society. Now, I started off today by saying, hey, why don't we exit the wheelhouse of a show that contains three white men snarkily breaking down movies on a couch, go outside of the standard fare for that, something like Exit to Eden starring the sexiest woman alive, Rosie O'Donnell, but instead, we went for a late 80s cult horror classic, therefore staying right in the wheelhouse and not expanding our tastes whatsoever. However, it was quite a fascinating one, and I think we all now know where Alex Garland got his Into Men. Am I right? Am I right? Now, we are going to get into it. Mateo.
Yes?
As usual, this comes from you, because God forbid a movie I suggest ever makes it onto the show even
just
once.
watch you.
So why don't you...
You
Yes.
picked it.
Still.
It is true. You picked
Still.
it.
No, you know what? No. Mateo is not going to get the synopsis because I always throw it to you because this is your collection.
That's
We're going to
fucked
switch
up,
it
man.
up. My brother, who's wearing the hat I put on our statue
That's
over there,
even
which
more
looks really
fucked
cool, he's going to break down Society. Because you know what? Matthew's never liked Society. Let's see if you like the movie better. That was named after. Matthew, what is 1989 Society about?
Society is about Bill Lee,
Bill Lee.
who is a young,
Chinese?
well-to-do kid who was on the debate team and the basketball team. Although we never see him play in the game, he just see him at the debate team.
Right. But he has a card that says hoops.
So he does have a car that says hoops. He could just wear large earrings. Who knows? So he's always been kind of suspicious of his family until one day he discovers that his sister's ex-boyfriend, Charlemagne, bugged her earring and discovered a orgy taking place during her coming out ceremony.
I'm a little nervous, though. It's fine. Oh, relax, Jenny. Just go with it. It's so much fun to see how far you can stretch. Yeah, the hotter and wetter you get, the more you can do.
Coming out
into
into society
I
as
think
like a
this is the plot
debutante.
of Eyes Wide Shut you've confused it with.
He doesn't necessarily believe it at first, but he's always kind of suspected something. His psychiatrist tells him he's crazy. His family tells him he's crazy. Eventually, he starts digging a little deeper and starts realizing things. And
This summer, once he dug deeper, he started realizing things.
he starts getting some tangible evidence, but every time he brings someone to prove it to them, it's gone or it's twisted or covered up. So eventually, he gets drugged
Yes.
by the psychiatrist and the family who finally confront him. They take him to a hospital. He wakes up tender and leaves to go confront his family. I'm assuming that's what the drug did.
Yeah.
Oh.
He seems more empowered and more something.
Yes, but I'm assuming it's had to do with the... Wait. Yeah. It had to make him mushy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But probably then it wears off, and so he goes back being Billy.
I got a question about that then.
Sure.
He goes home. There's a massive orgy of really gross old people who is led...
All members of the
society. Who
Again,
are-
I think this is Eyes Wide Shut.
who are led by the judge.
Yes.
Reinhold?
I wish.
Imagine he just walks out butt naked.
His friend intervenes with the help of a girl he's into who was part of society but trying to pull away from it. They have a fight with the school bully, and he grabs his anus and pulls it inside out of his body,
Yes.
and then they flee
Yeah, because during the orgy they mutate into bizarre.
Jello people.
Yes.
These are Guar lyrics.
And that's about it?
Yeah, and they escape society, but of course the last line is the judge who says,
I may have an opening in Washington next summer. Know what I mean?
hence the society will always society.
Society is going to societize. And that's our plot synopsis. While we're here at the beginning, we'd like to remind all you kind folks that if you're here with us, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We've been lucky enough to have a couple new people start commenting every week, and we'd like to add more. The success of this show is dependent on you, the audience, interacting. So drop a comment with us. We're happy you're here. Matthew, what did you think of 1989 Society? Now that our synopsis is out of the way.
I've seen it before.
What?
So did I.
I mean, I haven't seen it before.
What?
I saw it in the moving theaters.
Wait, seriously?
I saw it in the stationary theater
Yeah.
of your apartment.
Yeah,
You guys watched this before?
we
It
watched
was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, about 10 years ago or
Yeah.
something. Yes.
What?
Although I don't remember it that much. I mean, obviously, except for the orgy scene. But I seem to like it a lot less this time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
Oh.
I'll start right off the bat by saying there is objectively, mind-blowingly impressive practical effects at the end of this, and no review of this movie could ever in good faith say anything other than a complete stellar symphony at the end. Forgive me, Mateos, it's Screaming Mad George. Screaming Mad George deserves a million props,
Yes.
and if we wanted to, we
I
could
bet
just...
you he's got a million props.
Nice. We could just spend this whole episode discussing that, and I would never say anything bad about that orgy at the end. What an amazing spectacle of what practical Hollywood can do. We're going to get into it, but beyond that, I didn't dislike it, but I was surprised that something of this nature didn't have me rapturous afterwards. Didn't necessarily dislike it, but...
What did you think going into it? What did you know going into
I
it?
like the fact that I kind of started to read the back, which didn't... luckily, I read the regular one and not the Criterion,
okay.
which I feel like basically just said, "Hey, there's some."
The
They
Arrow.
think there's some.
Backup.
I'm sorry, Arrowhead. There's some sex stuff going on he doesn't know about, but I like that Mateo
It said
kind
sex
of
stuff?
swatted me away from that. Said, "Don't even read about it."
Hey, let's not waste our time bullshitting.
I think overall, I could compare this to what one might say, and me and Mateo err more on the side of the Shyamalan defenders, which I
Don't
feel like
rope
most
him
people
into
don't.
your theories.
Most people don't. Sad to say.
Why
But-
can't I be a Shyamalan defender?
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, then MaJaMa errs on the side of Shyamalan
I
defenders.
mean, at least for Lady in the Water.
Most people aren't.
Yeah.
And while
Most people are vehemently attacking him.
vehemently
They're not
attacking
just
him, yes.
against him.
Now, I'm not saying that a lot of his stuff can be frustrating or doesn't connect, but I feel like the man deserves more credit.
Wait, this was
than
Shyamalan?
He gets.
No.
So what I was saying is, I feel like the curse that Shyamalan has had on because of the stellar twist at the end of Sixth Sense, beautifully delivered, everyone is going to put on a Shyamalan movie for all time and say, where's the twist coming?
Here is Chubby Checker, the inventor of the twist. Let's have a wonderful hand for him.
Similarly here, I think even without reading the back, I would have sensed that this is a something is amiss. And unfortunately, it had the effect of the entire time I'm like, get me to what's amiss. I know a reveal is coming, that something's bubbling, and it had the very unfortunate effect of being like,
Literally.
just get me to that. Having said that, it was a wonderful getting to that at the
Did
end.
you know about the microwave melted orgy?
I knew something was coming.
That's what she said.
It took me by surprise in how...
It's weirdly hinted during the opening credits.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Which is...
The opening credits...
I think that someone has a boob.
Yes, it looks
Held like
like
that and it's
yeah,
just-
that is, it looks like.
Okay, Mateo, thank you for bringing that up. The opening credits are one of the most kick-ass opening credits. You could fucking put them in an art museum as an example of gorgeous art. The way it's composed, the way the shot is, the way it's just kind of this undulating something in the background.
And I like
over
the title that starts white.
Yes,
They're
yes.
very yellow and then
glows.
red. Yes.
Perfect. In fact, I was almost disappointed that the font wasn't more extravagant for this type of
Yes.
movie, but the transition from white to glowing yellow saved it.
I think that's what they always look like.
Now, what I want to say is that those credits were so great, but what they did was they exacerbated the effect of something crazy is happening, because they literally show you something crazy is going to happen. And unfortunately, while it didn't destroy the movie for me, the credits and the sense that something was going to be revealed made me kind of like, when's that coming, the whole movie? But what I would like to say,
Did you come?
similar to the off-discussed recently, and justifiably so, Skinamarink, there was a very great environment of the dream hellscape where it's like, oh my God, let me open this door. There must be something here. No, there isn't. Oh, there must be an answer here in this person. Oh, no, they didn't. Like that utter frustration of, I'm coming to you for an answer. You give me more riddles. I thought you were on my side. It turns out you're with it. The movie does a fantastic job of maintaining the paranoia and that horrible nightmarish feeling where I can't make sense of anything. That Skinamarink, for all the things detractors say or that we could argue about its frustrating nature, it has that, like, oh my God, why did a door disappear? Why am I still in this hallway? Why won't my dad turn around? Like, a lot of the things, even not nightmares, but dreams, is the frustration of the lack of logic. So I will say that this movie really had a great paranoid air that didn't let up, and it was almost maddening in, like, can we please, like, tell me the truth? No one is telling me the truth.
Jenny, do you have anything to tell me?
What do you want me to say?
Come on, I swear. I swear it'll be just between you and me. Just tell me the truth.
About what?
You know what.
Bill, I'm really worried about you.
So I give a lot of credit for that, but I think its downfall was that I was just waiting on the reveal because it's too telegraphed that some reveal is happening. Now, Matthew, you said you saw it twice now and liked it less this time. So the first time, were you more enthusiastic about it?
I guess I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah, because in the same vein of today, I told him I show you a movie that you have
Going
to...
blind.
Yeah, especially because I had the feeling that if you try to describe it, to pitch it to somebody, say, oh, we're going to watch this movie. What is it? You cannot give the right... it's very hard to describe.
Because it sounds more basic than
Exactly,
it is.
yes. And
although, I will say, I'm very much a fan of Arrow and Criterion because they give us full-on books with supplementary material, which can we bring back for everything, please? But what I really liked in there...
By the way,
is that,
no, but...
Brian Usna, right?
Brian
Usna said, I basically did this movie as a base-level joke, but I'm more than happy to see the things of commentary people attached to it. And I really, really like he said that.
Don't you think that sounds a little bit paranoid?
Because to me, it's a little too base level. Like the guy literally says, hey, the rich have always suckled off the poor like you, which is not a line that doesn't work for the world in the movie, yet it's basically like me writing a satire where it's like, and some character says, man, the rich can really be assholes that are detached from society, right?
I'm with you.
So I like the fact that
That's good, man.
the director himself said, this was basically just a joke to me, but I love what you guys put on it because I feel like that's honest, and I feel like if he had been like, well, I really wanted to say how society, the rich are a different breed, it might be like a little, Brian, that was a little heavy-handed. However, if it's just simply a sick joke, I also love, there was a quote in there about, I think it was someone who was working with him, said Brian just kind of, it was his first time directing, he kind of just turned on the camera and let his instincts see where the material took him, and I really liked the way that was put.
Absolutely brilliant.
So I think Brian had his head in the right...
Who the fuck is Brian?
I think Brian had his head in the right place. He just kind of wanted to tell this crazy joke that escalated. If someone...
Base level satirical joke that you stretch into a movie.
Yes. And if someone put more on top of that, I'm not saying it's not possible or I'm going to eye roll at it, but the satire, if you will, seems a little heavy-handed. And
there were a lot of levels to that orgy.
I think
layer
works
upon layer.
better as just the base level joke. I think it works fantastically as that.
I won't tolerate this language from you, young man.
It's kind of difficult to discuss this movie because the ending is... Mateo talks often about how in the abysmal Hudson Hawk, when he saw it in the theater, everyone was kind of desperate for a laugh. The dog joke comes at the end. It's like fucking a meal to a starving man.
Bunny! Bubble!
And everyone walks out like, wow, that was
It's more
really
like
good.
it was more like a buoy in the middle of the ocean after you've just
Even better. So that comes like late in the game and people walk out laughing at that thing. It was good. Like this orgy scene at the end is so fucking objectively amazing. I can't see anyone putting it down unless they said like it was non-congruous, but it's kind of objective to put down the craft. That it's like the dog joke effect times 20, where it's like, I don't know what to say because you bring it home on such a crescendo that it's like, who gives a fuck how we got there? Look at what, dude, the shot of this is one of the most impressive physical, also, physical effects. Show this to everyone in praise of what practical physical effects can do. What a
with an eye towards cartoon physics.
Yes.
That's true, because it's like the Sharktopus theory. If you try to realify Sharktopus, he might not look as great. But kind of treating Sharktopus as a cartoonish thing brings up the low-level CGI.
And in fact, for the first time today, I realized with completely different results, but I found out that this movie structurally, if you will, from very, very, very far away, but it's very similar to Carrie. Which was about 13 years old.
Okay.
So you have...
slow simmer.
Yeah, very slow simmer that aims towards a gigantic concerto or explosion, whatever you want to call it, at the end.
Is the bloodbath at the end?
Yeah. Because during Carrie, really very little happened.
Creepy Carrie! Creepy Carrie!
A friend of mine put it in the best way possible, talking about Brian De Palma and Carrie. He says it's the equivalent of a guy who tells you, I have a Lamborghini, hop on, you hop, and he goes 5 miles per hour on this long stretch of road, and you say, okay, I know that at a certain point you're going to floor it, but you're just like keeping me brewing. And
that is one of the
But he takes it
best
too
metaphors
far, as opposed to
I've ever heard.
hitting the gas at a certain point.
That's exactly
right.
That's it. That's beautiful. What a great fucking metaphor.
And
it's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, and this is exactly the same. Because throughout the movie, you're genuinely curious to know what is this sort of a conspiracy behind it, and you're trying to look around and to see. One of the things that I love about this movie, I always did, and in the theater it was actually much more efficacious. It's the fact that
effective in conveying its message.
Almost, beside that, but almost every single time he gets into the house, you hear voices all around.
Shh.
It's kind of like traffic school, but slightly different.
Catch the wind, see us spin, sail away,
dude,
leave the day,
dude,
way up high in the sky.
And you hear this.
That took me a second.
Oh my God! All this. Go over here, or just that you hear strange sounds, and in the theater it was just like surrounding you, so it was.
Oh, that's actually awesome.
Yeah, it was extremely effective.
Actually, when you're done, I want to say something on the theatrical experience.
And also.
Don't stop talking to him.
Just keep
all right. And also there is, it has to be said, of course, that this movie is from 1989 when the rhythm and the pacing were slightly different. I mean, it was very odd already back then, but it wasn't something that we were saying, "Oh my God, is so slow," and because we weren't really used to the Michael Bay rhythm or something.
That's what I was missing. I was trying to think of the word.
An explosion.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
Every movie needs that.
Yes.
I don't believe this.
But that is it. I realized today that is exactly that. It's a ordinary character in extraordinary circumstances, and it takes this extremely slow journey to go from one point to another, trying to put the pieces together, and eventually culminates into this grandioso opera that you can't take your eyes off of it because it's beautiful.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on here, but I don't appreciate it.
Calm down, Bill.
Some of us have to get to school on time. You know, you look really nice in a tie. Don't you think so, Jim?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Knock it off here! Why? Why are you guys doing this to me, huh?
Now, what year was The Stuff?
Look at that. That's meant for us.
Mid 80s?
Yeah.
Around then?
Yes.
So this is 89. When I was watching this movie the whole time, I could not help think of The Stuff and the state of modern movie making, because something I found uniquely exciting about this is it seems like an event or a high concept movie. And yet, unlike The Stuff, which was kind of like that, except there were a couple recognizable. Who was the guy with the dog? Yeah, Danny Aiello.
Yes.
With the dog. So the couple names stuff. This one was one of the only times I didn't recognize a single name. The booklet said a lot of them were plucked from reliable TV careers. But I didn't...
Well... Oh. No. Our protagonist, Billy, whose real name is
Emilio Estevez.
Billy Warlock. You know him the actor.
Oh.
Baywatch.
You and your girlfriend cry at the same movie. Never, sometimes, always.
Brain's just stuff. It's obviously not a man.
What?
Sometimes.
Eddie, you have never once cried at a movie with me.
Fine. Never.
Yes, beside Baywatch, you know him extremely well because not only he is the son of the Shape in Halloween 2, because his dad, Richard Warlock, played the Shape, and he was the stuntman coordinator in Halloween 2. No more Nick Castle.
Wow.
But in Halloween 2, there's a kid with a boombox that goes around town, and then he bumps into Michael Myers.
That's
Billy
Nick Castle.
Warlock. No, yes.
Murders took place. The teenager was taken across town to Haddonfield Memorial Clinic.
Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, what is it, Craig?
Yeah, I'm worried about Bennett Tramer. He isn't home yet. Yeah, and he left the party at 10.
Wow.
And
Wait,
that's-
his name was Bill and his character's name was Bill?
Yes, what are the odds?
Yeah, let me know, huh?
And what I was going to say is that this and The Stuff both make me think of a time when you could have essentially a starless, high, odd concept movie that felt like an event movie that would actually be released in the theaters. I know a little bit of this is presentism, if you will, because, well, you know, you couldn't find bigger, slavish, drooling fanboys of the MCU than me and Matthew. We also completely understand the effect it's had in modern cinema.
What are you talking about?
And once again, I say the idea that something like Society or The Stuff, although, to be fair, what's coming out today, Cocaine Bear, which is of a similar ilk, so that's a little nod to the right direction that Hollywood would still make this something like this a release. I really see these as exciting in the fact that one time Hollywood was like, what we're putting at, well, actually, this one talks about how it had a lot of problems with being censored here in the States, but
Yes.
still,
The States.
the idea that Society or The Stuff would be a Hollywood release in theaters really makes me think of what a sweet spot for just unbridled creativity the 80s were.
Especially at Christmas time. Just seems like an odd choice.
The Stuff was Christmas time? This was
Society
Christmas?
was Christmas. Christmas Day.
Is he being serious?
I don't know.
Oh.
He's inscrutable. Yes.
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 He's good at that.
After all, I mean, a few years back, we had on Christmas Day Sweeney Todd. Which is a barber who decapitates, I mean, kills people.
And yet I
Still
get
a lot of
the Christmas movie, Christmas time vibes, if you will.
fun singing and dancing. People love that.
Mostly singing.
Yes.
Not so much dancing, but just like a lot of throat
Yes.
cut and stuff.
And
Very,
of course, the
very
porn
tasteful.
parody.
Yes.
The porn parody, Sweeney Rod, the Demon of Skeet Street.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have.
Thanks for that, man.
Now you have to learn to accept that.
So yeah, I find it very interesting that these were at one time theatrical releases, and like I said, fair play to Cocaine Bear, which is of a similar ilk, being released by Universal in a lot of theaters. So perhaps all is not lost, but these both made me think back to a different time. Cinema in the 80s must have been wild.
There was one thing in its favor.
Cocaine.
There were two things in its favor. No streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awful.
No ticket.
Yes. Wait, were you quoting Last Crusade?
No ticket.
Or Dogma?
No ticket.
Dogma.
No, Last Crusade.
Really?
Yeah. Wasn't Dogma quoting Last Crusade?
Yes.
Okay.
See, I didn't know that. So I've never seen
We
those
know that.
whack-ass movies.
We know.
You never saw Last Crusade?
He hates Indiana Jones.
That's not true.
He hates the adventure genre in
No. Well, to be fair, Uncharted seems like it'd be hell to watch.
Now, some people make the rules and some people follow the rules. It's a question of what you're born to.
We should do
Society.
for this show underwater. Should do underwater.
We should
Yeah.
do the show
I'm
underwater.
glad I caught
Dude,
that
I'm
in
down.
the theater.
I am down.
All right. So, Matthew, you said you had a question because Mateo in his plot synopsis said, Brian.
Yes.
That was my plot synopsis. Brian, Richard, Brian, Maddie,
Billy
Billy.
Batson.
Billy, you said you have a question about Billy not being himself and then going back to himself.
Oh, I'm wondering what he was injected with. Because he confronts his family.
Right.
About to be like, hey, I'm about to go upstairs
Get
and
blown
sleep.
by 6 dudes at once.
But I'm assuming he means he's just going to maybe go and pack and
Yeah.
run away. So they hold him down. The two ambulance drivers come, and the therapist injects him with
Magic.
magic.
It's one of those
and
drugs
then-
that work in movies
Yeah.
in weird way. It's
And
the
then-
same thing that he wakes up in the hospital
Yeah.
with the classic trope of lurching into bed. I've never.
That's how you usually wake up from a coma. I heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you're Jason in space.
So once he wakes up in the hospital bed, he imagines they're doing something to someone, pulling stuff out,
Yeah.
pushing stuff in, and then he runs, gets dressed, runs out,
Meets
bumps
his friend,
meets his friend,
but dismisses him.
but
pretty
dismisses
much.
him because he seems like he's high on some sort of drug and he's kind of cool.
That's
with
when
it
you think
now.
he's turned to be one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
But then you're saying he becomes back and becomes scared again at the orgy scene.
Yeah. So what the fuck was it? What happened? What was the point of what happened?
I think that he's just worn out.
But why did they take him to the hospital?
Six hours later.
That's why I was thinking that the injection might be something that loosens up his.
Well, originally
Giblets.
the nurse said.
William Whitney?
Yeah.
Are you a relative?
Yes.
Well, you have to go to the morgue then.
The morgue? He isn't dead. He just got here.
Well, I'm sorry.
No. You're not sorry. There's been a mistake.
So probably they wanted to eliminate him somehow, even if they eventually then they want to feed off of him.
But wasn't the whole thing like the parents have been curating this adopted baby?
Yeah,
forever.
They were.
So he was adopted, and they're just raising him to eat.
Yeah, because they say we don't know where he's from, or she says I'm not your mother.
Yeah.
I am not your mother.
Jesus, Bill. You never were one of us.
Oh,
I think this movie could have benefited a lot from being in high societal functions.
Show us more of the classic galas.
Like even the basketball game.
You want to get more sense of the opulence.
We don't see the coming out ceremony. As much as you want to leave the orgy as a reveal, yes. You could see more of like, oh, look what I've been indoctrinated to my entire life. Everything seems a little bit off. Well, yeah, they're rich, they're weird, they can do whatever they want. It is off.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, there's something more to it. So you start to kind of dig a little deeper and really find out this whole fucked up other race society that's sucking off the poor. This is like something you do when you have money.
Much like how I got through college.
Sucking off the poor? What the fuck are they going to give you?
Right, that joke didn't work at all. I keep getting swindled. They throw out a fancy tux, I blow them in the back alley of a Denny's, and they tell me they actually don't have money. And I keep fool me once.
You wear the tux, find someone wearing a tux, and blow them. Blow them.
Home a little early tonight, don't you think so, Mother? Has that brain of yours finally gone completely numb?
Mrs. Carlin, Bill Whitney.
Come on, Mother, out!
I would like to give credit to what I thought was an absolutely flawless shot. The sister behind a cubed, distorted...
That was a shower.
Shower door. And in that door distortion, we see her tits and ass are on the same front. The little blurring effect of the shower door is just enough to make that surrealistic shot perfect. Just one of those flawless shots. Love the way he did it. I imagine became one of the iconic images of the movie. We should also give credit to the body swap stuff that happens before the main orgy, where the daughter is in the mom's crotch and the dad's face is in the middle of a butt.
His butt.
I feel like, again, this is why I'm so happy to hear Brian say that this was a base level joke and you can attach on stuff if you want. I'm happy to see it. But I think, and I don't even say this in a, hey man, you're overextending your reach. I don't want to say that the movie can't work as a commentary, but...
Why did you say that then?
I feel like knowing the director had it as a base level presentation of this sick idea works for me a lot.
I'm with you.
I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of hard. It's such a spectacular ending. It almost kind of mutes other discussion because I just objectively salute that orgy at the end.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know if I've ever seen such an impressive thing of special effects, and it's creative too. It's not just, hey, can you give us special effects or slashers like butchering someone?
Yeah.
It's like the mouths are attached like
and it
fly
must
things,
have
and
been
the hand
a
is.
bitch to prepare, because just like that whole gigantic beast with all the people attached and everything must have been something like to have, because when you have something in front of your mouth you cannot drink or eat, so the actors need to be blocked.
Plus SAG won't let have that many old people on their knees for that long. I think it's like a half hour and you have to take a break.
Yes. Everybody goes to the bathroom as one huge creature.
Just go.
I gotta say that, and the orgy scene is a good example. Like, I've always been enthralled by all the arts, but the more I learn, it's like every day I spend in this movie nerd world obsessing over this craft, I'm just more and more humbled by the amount of craftsmanship and juggling it takes to do a movie. You know, Mateo always brings up the Terry Gilliam quote of making movies, trying to have like 100 people hold a giant paintbrush and do a painting on a canvas. But Again, the idea behind this show, we know what it's like to struggle to make a little 6K dumb shark comedy. Can you imagine, like you said, hey, we got actors tied together with prosthetics, they literally can't, can we get this shot in? Like, I'm so humbled by the amount of craft it must take to do even the tiniest bit of this. Movies are fucking amazing, and I feel like just trying to imagine the logistics of that orgy scene is a perfect example.
Then it's not me. I mean, I'm not going crazy here. Right.
Yeah, like how long did you have to have that on your mouth and you couldn't eat or take a drink? You're hot as fuck. First time director trying to draw. It's fucking amazing.
Did the director write it?
No, it was written by a couple of writers whose name escaped me, and it's.
But story by Brian De Palma?
No, I think that it was a spec script written by the two of them.
Wait, then what are you talking about?
What?
You said it was the director's joke.
You know who my girlfriend was in high school? Brian De Palma.
Why would you name it Brian?
Because he is a.
If you want, you can read the line in the booklet, so that I'm not mashing his words.
Okay, but I mean, it's weird that he wouldn't have come up with the idea and then.
Actually, Mateo, may I? I want to read the exact.
You're not linked up anymore.
Oh right.
You can move whatever you want.
Used to being leashed here. We have wireless mics.
You can
great.
spit
Even if you
anywhere in the
were
room now.
wired, you could have done it.
All right, in fairness, it's at least in front of him. If it was here, it'd be worse. Okay.
Oh, Mister, I put the Christmas tree in front of his face and threw out that hole.
That was one of the best fucking things. This cover is great.
For you.
By the way. I mean, funniest. Anyway, the quote in question. Great fucking booklet here, my God. Okay.
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 To this day, Yuzna said he basically made society as a huge joke with a vague message at its center. But he's more than pleased when audiences and critics see something more serious within its genre radicalism. Quoting Brian, I had a great deal of fun with the myriad of ideas in the screenplay, which essentially revolves around a standard issue teenager being scared to death of his burgeoning sexual desires. What occurs in society is something that happens every day, only here it's put in a fantasy context. It's 100% real to me. Anyone arguing that there are not a handful of families who do have such power in this world can't be as mistrustful as I am, except I'm not afraid of it. From my perspective, a few people have a great deal of sway over the many, and that is definitely not a good thing. And I'm not just talking about presidents or prime ministers either. So even in that quote, you can see you can attach a lot to it, but he kind of was just like, it's a base level joke. Attach stuff on, it's great.
Isn't that him talking shit about the script, though? He just filmed it.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes.
I'm sorry, what was your question? It was
He
weird.
didn't come up with the idea, so he can't be like, hey, this was a joke. I just wanted to keep it very baseline.
Yeah, but sometimes,
as the director is all about, the movie becomes what a director's vision is. So
in a different, in the hands of a different director, it could have been, yes, let's do a satire of society and be more heavy-handed. Whereas he actually had what I think that is a brilliant idea of sticking with Billy and following him as if they were almost like a detective work throughout the story. It's not. It's we are him. We are his eyes. So we see what he sees, and with whatever happens till the end.
Why was the girl's mom like that?
Come on, Mrs. Carlin. You're gonna be my date.
I don't know, but it was pretty funny.
Yes.
A lot is not explained, which I feel like is both a nice choice and also frustrating.
It's one of those things almost Lynchian, where not everything needs to make sense or being extremely told to you what is going on, why this character is here or there. And so the mom is just like, it adds this weird tone, comedic most of the time, of this woman obsessed with hair and just like...
Is she part of society? Because the judge also threw up a hairball.
Yes. I don't know. Probably she is a
Because her daughter is.
rejected. Her daughter definitely is, and wants to get out. Apparently, as she does. Probably she is rejected because she's not mentally sane or something.
Okay. And now the bully Dax says he was also
Biggs Darklighter.
Shunned.
Ted Ferguson.
Ted Ferguson. Tard Jenkinson.
Wait, Turd Ferguson said he was shunned?
Turd Ferguson.
And finally, back again, Burt Reynolds in a commanding lead with $14.
Hey, check out the podium. Look at this.
Mr. Reynolds has apparently changed his name to Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, that's right. Turd Ferguson. It's a funny name.
Great.
But he's the popular one.
Yes, but that means maybe he earned his place? But does that mean he wasn't, like he was going to be eaten?
You know what?
He was promised the place in Washington by the judge.
Yes.
You too, young man. You have a bright future ahead of you. We may have an internship for you this summer in Washington.
As impressive as this is, I have to say, I don't think it fully congealed for me.
I think you had to. I think you needed to see more of society before you get to the end scene, to kind of weave your way through a little bit more. And I think you needed a little bit more connection to society through Billy, because while it is kind of okay, he's just aloof and off in his own little world, and the family don't really care. Ultimately, the plan is to, like, you're raising like a prize turkey.
No, you're right.
To
you know
eventually
what?
eat at this turkey's 18th birthday.
I agree with Matthew. I agree with both of you, because I understand the process of following Billy around, but I feel like I understand what Matthew's saying. I didn't get enough of a sense of this is the world I've been bred into. Not that you don't get it, but I think I know what you're saying. You want to see more of what he's like a veal calf, and you don't see the barn process as much. Like you want to see, and it's not to its entire detriment, but I do feel what you're saying, that like I want to see more. I didn't completely. You need to feel those claws coming up behind him, and I stand by my thing. If it's an excellent vibe of paranoia creeping throughout, very well done with that. But I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I need to see more of the world that he's bred into, like this veal calf.
Are you talking about society as a whole? Or are you talking about society
or
as
this
the
town,
upper
this
echelon?
Town society.
This town? Is it the entire society within this town? Is it just the upper class?
Since they're talking about Washington, probably is...
No, yes. But I think just in terms of seeing who the society are, I think, well, maybe this was part of the reason, too, that you cut throughout, like, wait, who is part of society? Is it the whole town? Is it every school teacher? Is it the kids? Is like
because are the cops also... The cops are also involved into...
Does that mean they're just there as
probably they're
guards?
Yeah, exactly. They're defenders.
But then that brings me back to the question of when they injected him and took him to the hospital, what was their plan?
I won, Milo. I'm free. They couldn't handle Whitney the Wonder Boy.
Bullshit, it's a setup. Look, they even brought your sheep here.
Come on, they just want me to be happy.
Bill, you're officially dead.
Hey, what are you doing in there? Hey, this is a private party and private property. It's members only.
We're invited.
Oh, you're invited. Who's that?
This is my mother.
I'm sure.
Here, Mrs. Carlin.
Wait a minute.
You know, it's not the same vibe where the other movie I'm about to mention should need to work more, but it's like you watch The Dark Knight and it's fucking kick-ass, and then if you try to realistically break down how the Joker's plans would work, you're like, this movie's still awesome, but this just, no. And I feel like as I hear you talk it out again, this movie's awesome, but I don't know, something is similar to me where I'm like, wait, was there a plan? Why did he get off of the effect of the drug? Could we see more of this? Was the girl that he wanted to fuck part of society or not? It's kind of a similar effect. I don't know. I'm very in the middle here where this movie has a lot fucking amazing. Again, Chud. I don't see why Chud got Chud's place. This completely understand why it got its place. Yeah. And yet, Something not congealing for me.
Which is the nature of these movies. That's why you're saying pretty much the same things in different tone and everything, but that you said for
more annoyingly so, right?
I'm sorry?
More annoyingly so.
Yeah. For the stuff. That is I wanted to like it. It's a great idea, but it's not complete. It's the nature of these movies. That it was a miracle.
You're kind of going without a parachute.
Yeah, it was a miracle that they were already made because this is, as you were saying, rightly, it's with all respect for the actors, but to a degree, is a no-name movie that you're trying to sell and to say half the budget is going to be in special makeup for one scene. Yes. So that's also something that you say, what?
Really? What do you mean by special makeup? Well,
let me give you a hand, Bill.
It's one of those movies that, more than the movie itself, it gives you a sensation throughout. It just gives you this very weird, is it real or almost oniric status, which is the same thing that I was telling you. Probably 10 years from now, we will still talk about Skinamarink. We were talking about this
10 years ago.
And yes, and we are talking about this after.
And Mateo called that because let me tell you, I walked out of there, like I said, kind of frustrated, and then I could not stop having conversations about Skinamarink. It was exactly as you said.
And so this is what I genuinely like about movies like this, that as imperfect as they are, as discombobulated or all over the place, still they leave a mark that you cannot ignore, and it resonates with you. And
the stains in the carpet alone, you're not getting those out.
No, but seriously, like I'll never, ever. I could hate this movie and I'll never forget the last scene.
Right,
never,
exactly.
Ever, it's impossible.
Which scene?
When they are in the car driving away.
That was exhilarating.
Credit to Mr. Usna.
Mr. Usna as director also of Ride of the Reanimator.
I was reading that. How the hell?
The Dentist.
This is why I can't be respected in the movie nerd world. How the hell have I not seen Reanimators?
That movie makes me cringe.
We watched that with Dad and Mom.
No.
Yes.
The Dentist?
Yeah. Corbin Burnson.
Oh. Corbin Burnson is...
All right, who wants to start?
Oh.
Well.
I'll start.
Mateo will start.
And I go with a 2 because I respect this movie. It's actually no, I'm lying.
Hey.
1.5.
Hey. You gotta eat it now.
I'm sorry?
You gotta eat it now. Or yeah. Jason's gotta eat it.
Jason gotta eat it.
I heard that all the time at Scout Camp.
Because of all that I say. It's a movie that I remember, and I remember in the theaters we were saying, what are we watching? And we couldn't actually take our eyes off it, and it lived with us forever. So 1.5.
You know, I'm going to follow suit, and I'm going to alter my vote because I'm a man that also respects artistic outlandishness and it actually existing and having the balls to go for it. So I might actually go up as high as 3, not factoring that in, just because, I don't know, some discombobulated effect didn't have me congealed, but I like what Mateo said, and I'm going to change it to 2, literally because I respect, and I think it's important stuff like this exists, and I love the fact this actually does, and I cannot give enough credit to the end scene. I really cannot. It's fucking craftsmanship at its finest. Howlin', Screaming Mad George should be lauded, absolutely. Absolutely the man should be. So I'm doing 2. I'm bumping it up because I agree with Mateo. I like it exists, even though as a movie it didn't congeal as much for me. 2 for Jason!
I like the gross sex scene as well. So I'm going to give it a 1, 2, 3. And funny enough, I think my favorite part is the hand.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Hand head.
Well, my
True
favorite,
surrealism. I forgot about that scene, actually.
My favorite is the line that she says of the tea.
How do you like your tea? Cream? Sugar? Or do you want me to pee in it?
And delivered so perfectly.
Yes.
MaJaMa.
I guess the real question is, in the end, me and Matthew are peasants out here, and we pretty much worked in grocery jobs and just had a circle of close friends. Mateo, in your previous life,
yeah,
you've probably come the closest to being around genuinely rich, powerful people. I guess my question is,
can we have some of their money?
No, because I'm trying, but
I was watching this movie and I thought
they don't return my calls.
And I know this is it's like being like, are all the whites like that? But
you're sitting next to one. Me,
your brother.
I wonder, are the super rich really as douchey as we are told over and over again?
Many of them are.
Yeah. The stereotype holds up.
Many of them are. Yes.
Douchey.
I guess I'm not surprised.
It was one thing that when I was a kid I never figured out because I wasn't really. Well,
because your soul wasn't blackened and dead inside?
That's one of the things. And two, because I was young and extremely stupid versus now that I'm old and extremely stupid. But I've seen things that I can't repeat.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
But I remember that Roger Moore, when they says, the things that is every single Bond villain has in common is that is extremely rich, and yet they want more.
And you find that to be true?
And yes.
He's very full of himself.
Well, now he's dead.
So there you have it, folks. Confirmation that the rich are dickwads. We all knew it.
And that Roger Moore is dead.
And that Roger Moore's dead.
You sure?
I hope so, because they closed the casket. He's still there with the James Bond gadgets trying to come out.
MaJaMa.